So I'm going to start MarkMagic back up in another user library that I have called Webinar that has a lot of my example formats in it that I love to show. And actually, I really quickly did that, sorry, but if I do start MarkMag and then space and then the library name, that's a really quick way to get into the library right away.
And if you mistype the library, it'll say, hey, do you want to create this new library? If it's a library not on your system, we prompt you and say, hey, do you sure you want to make this? And the same is true in JMagic. You can start in JMagic and create new user libraries, not just on the green screen. Yep.
And I've got my own personal library, KWH, and everyone's got their own for testing and messing around. And so this library webinar, you can see there's a bunch of demo formats, some zebra labels, some HP laser forms. I want to bring some of these over to the user library that I created, Webinar 316. And that brings us
number 2. You're getting to number 2 right now, aren't you?
Yes.
Exporting. Yes.
Exporting and importing.
There it is. I knew it.
So what we're going to do is export a bunch of things from Webinar to a save file on the server and import them to the other library. And very easy tools to do that in MarkMagic. Again, Chuck said that this can all be done also in JMagic. There is an export tool and graphical interface in JMagic to do that. I'll do it here just because I'm already here. So utilities, export. And all the different options here, I'll just run through them real quick. We're going to save this to a save file. We're going to just export everything into one save file. The next option down is, because on the next screen, we're actually presented with a list of all the different MarkMagic objects that can be exported. And I'm basically just saying, show me everything in my library here. Star all. I mean, I can F4 and show you that, there's jobs you can export, formats, just formats, show me just graphics on the next screen, but I'm just going to go through them all and pick and choose which ones I want to export. Same thing with these next two options here, just show me everything. The save file doesn't even have to exist already. It could if you've got your own personal save file that you use, but you can just put a name here and a library and we'll make the save file. Target release is the IBM OS release of the system that you're going to be importing it to. Since we're staying on the same system, Star Current is the option there. So I'll hit enter. This library doesn't have any MarkMagic monitors, so we're going to do continue, F19 to go to the next list of objects, which are MarkMagic jobs. There's a list of jobs in the library. I'm going to bring over a job. It's at the bottom here. It's a job that I'm going to use in number 5 later on for the duplex example. So I'm just going to export this MarkMagic job. It's got a print command in there that we use for printing forms. So there's just a really simple print command stored in this job. So I know again I did that quickly. So if you weren't watching, I put a 1 there, which means select the job. And if I put a 1 there and hit enter, it makes it selected on the right. So once it's selected, after putting a 1 and enter, then you can F19 to continue. And here's a list of formats in the library. I'll pick and choose a few that I want to bring over. There's a format here that I'm going to use in the next example, statement format. So there's a 1 there. I'm going to go down and pick some more. I'll put a 1 next to a terms and conditions format that I want to export, and let's put 1s next to some labels. You can put 1s next to a bunch of things and just hit enter, 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 and they all become star selected. F19 to continue to the next. This is a real neat thing too here. You can see there's already a 1 there. And that's because MarkMagic noticed that on one of the formats that you exported on the previous screen, there was a graphic on that format. And it's saying, hey, you might want to bring this graphic along too, because if you don't, there's going to be a missing graphic when you open it up in the other library. So it's suggesting by putting a 1 there. So I'm just going to hit enter, make the graphic selected. And another neat thing too, when we go to the next, continue to the rules. It noticed that the format that I'm exporting is involved in a rule set that I've pre-created. And and it's saying, hey, you might want to bring along this rule set too. And that's, again, something I'm going to show you in the rules section.
It's just so smart. MarkMagic is so smart that it actually knows to look and grab these things for you. And again, you can do all this in the JMagic screen as well, not just the green screen.
So I'm going to hit enter, make it selected, F19 to continue. And the last object that we present you with is text blocks. I'm just going to continue past that. I don't need to export any text block.
Cool.
F7, or Shift F7, F19 to continue, and you can see at the bottom, everything's been exported to that one save file.
And I'm just going to I know you already talked about this, Ken, but he happened to choose save file, which is a good AS400 type thing to do if you're going to go from one system to another. And if you notice, another option for export, you can export to a PC file, so it can go right there to the IFS. You can grab it from there and email it. And when you do this through the JMagic interface, it actually creates the export as an XML file that can then be sent over to another system and then imported. So we have all those options. We just had to pick one to show you guys. This is the one we went with.
A lot of different options. Yeah, we could probably just spent the whole half hour on all the different things. But for this one we're going to save file. So what's next is to switch over now to the other library that I created.
The empty one. This one's empty.
So I'm just typing in the name again in the middle here. And then now that the library is already a user library, when I hit enter, it's just going to right over. So there's no creating library. It's already been created. You can switch between libraries, all you want. So I switched over, and all that's left is to import now. It's kind of just the exact reverse process. Utilities import, I for import. And it's, where do you want to import from? So there's that save file. Again, which objects do you want to import? Just let's bring, show me everything in the save file, bring them all in. And the one option here that affects the import and what you see is replace, add, or select here for this replace or add records. It's really just an option to say bring everything in, overwrite anything that's there. I don't care. So that's the start add is just going to bring everything in.
So like an example of that would be, so maybe I'm in my development user library, I've made some changes to my packing list, and I've exported and I want to import it into my production user library. In that example, I would either say replace, because that format already exists and I just want to replace it, or I may even do star select, because star select, MarkMagic will actually prompt you during the import. It's like, hey, this one already exists in this production user library. Do you want to replace it? And you can say yes or no. So we have all those options in there.
Yeah, a bunch of options. So right here, since the library is empty, we know that already. I'm just going to do add, and it brings everything in, and you just have to specify the save file. So it's going to zoom right through, bring everything in,
and just to show that there's no smoke and mirrors, you'll see.
Yeah, F10.
In here. Yeah.
There's all the formats, and jobs and graphics have also been brought in. And that's on the AS400 side. Yeah, Chuck, if you want to mention the PI thing while I pull that over here.
All right. So the other part of this, and we're spending a little bit more time on the importing and exporting piece, so the other ones we're going to go a little quicker on, but the rest of this number 2 is the other platforms idea. So what Ken has opened up now is JMagic, which hopefully everybody knows about. That's not something you didn't know about. That's our WYSIWYG GUI designer, and it's free. You just install it on your PC, and JMagic can connect right to the AS400 and do stuff, right to MarkMagic PI running up in the cloud or in other instances on Windows and all that stuff. What Ken's showing is this particular JMagic, if you look down at the bottom, you see that IP address, it's actually connected to MarkMagic PI for the platform independent, the Java-based one. And he's going to show where you can use this JMagic to actually it's actually connected to 2 servers at the same time, where maybe you have a bunch of formats on your AS400 that you want to bring down to your PI instance. Check this out. Go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, sorry, I'm connected to my MarkMagic install on my Windows computer. I've actually got MMPI installed on my PC here. It's not even hooked up to an AS400, my JMagic here. So that's really neat. So what we can do is use the import table option under utilities. I can directly connect to my AS400 where MarkMagic AS400 is installed.
From this JMagic that's already connected to the MarkMagic PI one. You're going to connect to the AS400.
Connect. Yep.
It just
And
connected.
we show you all of the user libraries in
Including,
MarkMagic H100, and then here's
I
the
see
one
the
we just
one, yeah,
made.
you just made that, yep.
And I'm just going
Okay.
to say extract and bring everything over from that library into my MMPI platform independent world. So I'll do import, and it's bringing all of the formats over in jobs and graphics.
That's actually nicer to look at than the green screen piece, I'll have to admit. It's a little bit, nicer, cleaner.
Oh, absolutely. So
Yeah.
all my forms and graphics and labels. So those all got brought in. So these are all the ones that I exported to that other library. We now brought them over to Windows environment MarkMagic PI.
Very cool. All right.